Footy is like life. It is beautiful, but at times can be cruel. That is the name I gave this thought. Footy's amazing. Best sport there is out there. So footy is like life. It's cruel, but beautiful. This thought came from thinking. This thought came from watching the World Cup that's currently happening. There are games where you're expecting a certain result, a certain team, certain nation to win, and then they tend to struggle, and then you're like, oh shit, like, are they gonna win? Are they not? And then bam. So kind of like a little bit of everything, like in life, right? Like in life, sometimes we expect something to be like linear, something like just straight up direct with no changes. But as we know, life is beautiful like that. Sometimes it throws fast ones at us. Sometimes it doesn't give us what we think we were supposed to receive. So that's sort of how I got that thought after watching a game and then thinking of my life and of how just things at times don't play out the way they play out. So in footy, there's usually a stronger team and a weaker team, right? So there's the strong side, the weak side. It's in leagues, right? So club level, nation level, all types of levels of footy, you can see this play out in a sense. It'll speak a little bit to our situation, boys, and you guys. Hopefully, you guys can see how it came from here and spoke to the situations we were born into and all that in the area we are growing up in. Again, all of this is fake population, a fake area that I'm describing. Let's see. So as I was saying, you see this at all aspects of footy, right? At different levels, and all that. You have a team that on paper is like, hey, that's the team that's going to win. That's the team that's going to have more shots on goals. That's the team that has the best players, the best coach. And then there's the weak team that comes into the match. That's the team that is most likely going to lose. That is a team that on paper is not going to have as many shots, is not going to have as much possession, doesn't have the best players. What ends up happening, and this, you guys, raw, as always, I love it. What ends up happening is that sometimes that doesn't play out. So on paper, it just doesn't play out the way it's supposed to play out, like upsets, all these things. That is pretty much how I want you guys to think of when thinking of our own lives. So on paper, say we are like the weak team, right? On paper, we were not born into the best of the area we are living in. Sometimes broken families, broken homes. Sometimes issues that we had no control over or we had no say, and somehow we were thrown into them. So on paper, boys, from the area we are growing up in, lack of resources, lack of pretty much everything, but it is amazing though. I was gonna say it sucks, but I also want you guys to never fall into that victim mentality. Something we talk about a lot, right? Not allowing factors to dictate how we view ourselves. So when thinking of yourself, of the career you want, of the things you want out of life, many times the environment we are born into, we are put into, the environment that is shaping us makes us think that we don't have a shot at whatever it is that we want. That our dreams are just that they're just dreams. That some dreams are just too big. That some dreams are impossible. That creating the lifestyle you want is not going to happen. And I understand it from the perspective of I'm a guy growing up, when I was younger, growing up with no resources and all these things. So I understand those feelings, and I want to make sure you boys understand, and some of you, a good chunk of you, know that I am not saying like, oh, I kind of understand just to say it. Like, you guys have seen, have heard like lived experiences and things of my own self. So now taking it back to what I was saying about footy. So say the match starts. Weak side, strong side. And sure, the stronger side, possession most of the game, multiple shots on goal, multiple chances to score goals. So the game ends, and say the weak team wins 1-0, wins 2-1, barely wins, right? The weak team barely wins, but they win. On paper it said that the strong team had 10 shots on goal, and out of those 10 shots on goal, none of them went in. On paper, it says that the weak team only had 1 shot on goal, and that 1 shot on goal went in. And that's how they ended up winning. No matter how much you have in regard to qualities, this is what came when thinking of how when the weak team wins, even though on paper it looked like they shouldn't have won and it felt that they weren't going to win, but somehow they won. No matter how much you have in regards to qualities, no matter how much someone else from a different place, from a different environment looks, think of like when you guys apply to colleges, when you guys apply to a job or something, knowing that maybe there's another opponent, maybe there's another person that has better connections, that grew up wealthier, that overall their environment was not the environment that we were given. And you're like, fuck. Now I gotta make sure that I at least get a shot at getting an interview at least. Or whatever it is in that end, right? But just understanding, right? So that there will be people that on paper look better, look like they should be the ones to succeed. Don't let that discourage you from thinking that you yourself, just because on paper it seems that you shouldn't succeed, that you're not going to succeed. Because that is not how life works. That is not how any of this works, at least from my perspective, the way I view the world, the way I decide to live this life. No matter how much you have in regard to qualities, if you don't execute and the opponent that has less qualities does execute, who wins? The opponent that executed. So with this, you just have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself, and we can dive deeper into it. We can discuss this even further. But for this, understand that you just have to be ready. Whatever that speaks to you when you hear that. You have to be ready for when you have your chance, your only chance at scoring a goal. What does that mean? It means that just because we grew up in this environment and someone else grew up in a better environment does not mean that we're going to use that as a victim mentality, as an excuse to say, I'm just not going to prepare myself for life. I'm not going to prepare myself for this interview. I'm not going to prepare myself for college, for whatever it is that you want to take on. I'm not going to prepare myself because there's someone better than me, because there's someone that's going... Oh, I hit myself. Because there's someone that on paper is already going to beat me. Taking it back to footy. This is how I view it. You have like a European team. It's always like that. You have a European team playing a match against a team from North America, South America, from this side, right? On paper, it will always seem that the European team will always be the stronger side. If I were on the weak side, and I do this like even right now, like when I play and all that, I'm like, dude, it's always just 11 versus 11. Sure, there's like better players and all these things, but when the whistle gets blown, right, when life gives you the opportunity, when the whistle is blown, it is 11 versus 11. 11 men versus 11 men trying to score more goals on each other. life. It is you versus whoever it is in whatever aspect you are applying to or trying to do something in, right? It is everything that's on paper goes out the window. So in a match, they'll give you the stats, they'll give you all these things. But once the whistle is blown and the game begins, the stats, all that on paper goes out the window. Sure, it's still there. You can go and look at it and all that. But what actually is happening, that is the thing that matters, is that they are playing it, right? They are playing. They are executing the chances they have. Again, one team will have less chances than the other team. The other team will have more chances to score. But it is how many of those shots, how many of those plays actually ended in a goal. With us, boys, I want to give an example that maybe speaks to you guys more than to me. So let's see. When I begin editing these videos, I'll add like a little timer or we'll be back, folks. A lifestyle, a dream. Let's stick to that. A dream. I always like to think big. I always like positive, right? Let's say your dream is to just have a career in whatever it is that you want, and you want to have a car, you want to have a family. That's your dream. That is what you're working towards. That is the goal. That's what's going to happen when you execute a goal. When you score a goal, that will come into your life, right? Well, before you can score a goal, before you can even create a chance to score, to shoot, to pass the ball and make a goal, before that can even happen, you have to prepare yourself. You have to train. You have to visualize it. You have to just be certain that that you will be able to perform when the time comes. In order for that goal to happen, you got to prepare yourself. Prepare yourself how? In whatever aspects it speaks to you again. Whether that means being more disciplined with your body, being more disciplined with your mind, whether it means going out of your comfort zone and doing things that don't feel easy, that don't feel that it is your thing. Whatever it is, you just have to understand that you have to prepare yourself. Especially us boys. There's no one coming to save us. Especially as a gender, right? This is something we talk about. As men, no one is coming to save us. Let alone growing up in the situations where we are growing up in, where we are living. There is no one that is coming to save us. It is only us. In order to make it out of this beautiful but shitty county and all that, it is up to us, up to you, up to me. I say this because in soccer and footy, one of the things that tends to happen is that some players tend to slack while others go above and beyond, and then they come together, and then as a team they lose a game or they don't execute because maybe not everyone was prepared. So with you, think of yourself as a team, your whole self as a team. The mind, your body, your soul, spirit, whatever it is that you want to call it. And all the aspects, all the domains in your life, that is your team, that is you. If you want to be a solid team and you want to be ready to score the goals, especially again, because we won't have as many chances as the stronger team, as other people that come from wealthier, from better, from whatever it is that you want to call it. We need to have our team ready to beat them, ready to execute. So what does that mean? That means taking care of all aspects, or at least trying to take care of all aspects. Just not being closed off to saying like, hey, like I'm doing well in this part of my life, this part of my life, this other part of my life, but this part in my life, I don't even want to touch it. I don't even want to open it. I'd say, okay, understandable, but to me, at least opening it, at least trying to see how to go about it, is already sending that message that, hey, I am eventually going to learn how to work on this aspect of my life. Right now, at the moment, I don't know how to, and I am taking care of the other aspects of my life, but eventually I'll have this other aspect of my life mastered, and there you become as a whole a solid team. Again, maybe still on paper, it seems like you're the weak team. It seems like you're not going to win. But because you are doing the work, because you truly know that you're doing the work, like I tell you boys, be confident in everything you do. Be confident with who you are, with who you are going to become. If you're confident, then you'll go into that match, and whatever is on paper won't even faze you. Whatever is said about you as a team, as being the weak team, being the team that doesn't have the best players, doesn't have the best coach, it won't even faze you, because you understand that when the whistle is blown, it is actions. It is not what's on paper. It is what you do that makes the team, right? That makes you score, that makes you win or lose. Your actions, not your words, your actions. In order for you to be ready to create those actions, you got to prepare yourself, your whole team. Does that kind of make sense, boys? That is, when it comes to comparing life to footy, so many metaphors, a poet, so beautiful. So I could go on and on, but for now, that is sort of where I want to start this thought, where I want to begin the foundation for more thoughts related to that, if it happens. Now, let's see. To conclude, let me just read fully what I wrote, and then you'll have more thoughts. Footy is like life. It can be cruel, but it's beautiful. No matter how much you have in regards to qualities, if you don't execute the chances you have, and the opponent who has shittier, is that even a word? Who has lesser qualities, shitty qualities, but does execute, and he executes only one time, he'll outsmart you. And you can't do anything about it. You just have to keep remastering your game, remastering everything about you, mastering everything about you, until you can actually score, until you can actually execute the opportunities that are presented to you. On paper, nothing really matters. It is what you do. Let's go after it, boys. It's beautiful that we come from this, that we're coming from the bottom, that we're actually making nothing into something. It's a beautiful process, and I know it's frustrating. I know it sucks. Trust me, on that aspect, I know how shitty it feels to look and be like, damn, if I was just born over there, if I was just born in this, if I was given this, if I had this around me, if the environment I was born into was completely different, things would be different. It's shitty, because I'm telling you, boys, I walk similar miles. I walk in similar shoes. It is annoying. It is frustrating. But that's the beauty of it. No one can tell me, no one can tell me anything. And I want that for you boys too. No one can tell me oh, that was given to you. Oh, this and that. Or oh, you had it so easy. All that. No one can tell me that, because I know what it is to be living in the area we live in. And just soak that in. Take the beauty of it. And once you start accomplishing things in your life, it'll give you more motivation. It'll give you more fuel. And you'll be like, fuck yeah. If it's even more adverse, if it's shittier for me, even better, because then I can outsmart other people. I can do things that other people should be able to do, but because they've been given an easier life, easier things, then they're not really executing on these things. And that is when the team with lesser qualities wins matches. That is how underdogs, that is where underdogs, let me know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. That is where underdogs are made. That is where there's upsets. when you truly, truly believe in yourself, not believe in your, when you just know, not believe in your, when you just know that you are preparing yourself for the big moment, for the game, and you execute, it's an upset. It's an upset, and we'll take win after win. And when the lessons come, because we never take losses. Especially for us, for people that have nothing to lose, nothing's a loss. It's a lesson. So when we take our when we take our lessons, then we just apply it to our lives. We learn about it. We execute even better next time. We prepare ourselves to have those executions be there. We prepare ourselves to have more opportunities to execute. And then we just keep going forward.